Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and Biggs. But
I'm Biggs.
As you can see, Biggs is on assignment.
I got my dot card.
Yeah, he's got a food coma or something. He's under the weather, and it's it's Friday morning, and it is start and sit show. It is the day after Thanksgiving, and hopefully y'all are fed, happy, and thankful, and ready for a good show ahead. We've got some starts, we've got some sits for week 13. We had a couple games yesterday. Some performances in the books, but let's talk about this week, Schultze. How you doing, man?
I am doing fantastic. I had a wonderful Thanksgiving yesterday.
Perfect. Yeah, really low key and chill. Well, here up in Canada, we had our Thanksgiving over a month ago, but you know what? I took the day off work. I went for an hour and a half massage. I had some good food. I watched football, so I took it all in, and I hung out with my buddy Schultze all day. So let's go. So let's get into the start and sits, and I'm going to start today's episode with my first start, and he is a guy that is coming off a bye, and he is the eye of Schultze. He's the glimmer in Schultze's eye, if you will. And it's Brian Thomas Jr. of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he is a must start for me this week. Despite the season struggles of the team, this rookie wideout has proven to be a consistent and reliable target in the passing game. And with a week off to recover from his rib/chest injury, Brian Thomas Jr. is poised to deliver big numbers against a Houston Texans defense that has been vulnerable to wide receivers. His talent, coupled with the ideal matchup and his increased volume potential, makes him a high-value fantasy asset this week. And I didn't even mention that he could be getting his quarterback back, Trevor Lawrence, who, will increase the passing volume if he does return. Brian Thomas Jr. has had consistent yardage. He's been a target monster. Big play potential. We know that. He's shown the ability to have those explosive plays. Multiple receptions over 20 yards in recent games, including a 33-yard catch that was overturned last week. But you know what?
It was a catch, too. I don't get it.
It is what it is, right, Schultze?
It doesn't matter. Like, they weren't going to win. But yeah, the fact of the matter was, it was a catch, damn it. And you know what? It doesn't matter if the Jags were going to win or lose. Fantasy managers wanted that 33-yard catch.
Yeah, we needed it. It would have been a monster game for him. It would have put him over 100 yards for the week. And give me some Brian Thomas Jr. this week. Schultze, do you got to start for us this week?
Well, I have to say that I was over here tilting over the fact that Jordan Love just completely missed a wide open bomb for a touchdown to Jaden Reed on the first possession of the game yesterday.
Whatever, Biggs. I mean, Schultze. I mean, Biggs. I mean, Schultze.
And then you said Brian Thomas Jr. and Trevor Lawrence, and I was like, whoa, I'm back, baby. So here we are. I'm starting Kyler Murray. He's playing the Vikings, and this secondary has been getting torched. And this is gonna be such a good segue, man. It wasn't even planned. I love this. But I love Kyler Murray. And I think this game's got fireworks. He can be dealing it through the air to Marvin Harrison. Trey McBride's coming around doing well. They've done a good job of sprinkling in like Michael Wilson in the red zone and stuff. Kyler Murray's going to go off this week. And when he's dealing through the air, it just opens up him on the ground. And that's when he really starts killing you in real life. And that's when he starts killing your opponent in fantasy too. Start Kyler Murray. Don't worry about it. Because there's another person that's going to do really well and you want to start. Who is that?
That guy he's directly affiliated with Kyler Murray, and I like his chances this week to produce big numbers. And Marvin Harrison Jr. is a must-start for me against the Vikings, who have been one of the most generous defenses to fantasy wideouts this season, despite some frustrating moments with the Cardinals. The stats indicate that this week, could be the breakout game for this rookie. The Vikings have struggled to contain wide receivers, and Harrison's ability to exploit this vulnerability combined with a pass-heavy game streak makes him a high upside play. So if you're looking for a potential star this week, Harrison is your guy. The Vikings' weak pass defense, they've allowed a large amount of yardage. Harrison's matchup, he'll likely face Stephon Gilmore, who's allowed just 0.2 fantasy points per route this season, making him a prime target. High volume opportunity, recent success in the wide receivers against the Vikings. Top receivers like Keenan Allen and DJ Moore have posted up big numbers in recent weeks, and Harrison is well positioned. So give me his talent, his matchup, and Kyler Murray coming off a good couple stretches here. So I think this Cardinals team is flying on all cylinders. So hit me up with some Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Let's go, baby. I love that.
All right. Let's get into
Synchronicity.
Let's get into some sits now, Schultze. And I'm sticking to this game, and it's going to James Conner. And, it's time to consider him as a sit. Despite his ability to contribute through the air, Conner's inefficiency on the ground, and he's got a really tough matchup against the Vikings. He's a risky play this week. He's only had 1.1 yards per carry. Conner is just been bad last week against Seattle. He only put up 8 rushing yards on 7 attempts. He had 50 yards or less in the last 4 weeks. 14 combined non-PPR points between weeks 9 and 11. He's less than 3 yards per carry in 3 of his last 4 games. Conner's recent inefficiency, you got to talk about Trey Benson coming in as well, who's starting to steal some opportunities away from James Conner against this Vikings tough defense. I think this game's going to have a lot of scoring opportunity. He may get into the end zone, but I think it's going to be tough sledding for James Conner this week. But lights up for Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. Who do you got as your sit there, Schultze?
This one might be controversial to some because he's been killing it this year. But I'm sitting Joe Burrow. He's got the Steelers, and that defense has been messing people up. Okay, they get after the quarterback. That's Joe Burrow's nightmare right there. Is a real pass rush, and I think Pittsburgh's going to bring that and get after him. Second of all, so yeah, number one, not a fan of the matchup. 2, this wrist injury, we saw it flare back up 2 weeks ago, Sunday Night Football. He still had a huge game, but he completed 56% of his passes or something like that, which is showing you like the wrist and the inaccuracy stuff like it is a thing, right? He was asked in his press conference how he's feeling, like, and he even acknowledged that like it's kind of a thing. And they asked him about going out and playing in the cold, and he said he hasn't even thrown in the cold yet with this wrist injury. And they're like, how do you think that's going to go? And he was straight up just like, oh, we're going to try. Yikes. If you have a reasonable option that's not Joe Burrow, I'm going there.
Yeah, I mean, there's some options this week that could float around there. And if you got the balls to sit Joe Burrow, go ahead and do it. Schultze is telling you to do it. So listen to the man. All right.
And I'm never wrong, only sometimes all the time.
And you know where you can go, Schultze, to be wrong or right, wherever you want, without having any judgment. No one's beaking down your throat. There's no bots on there. There's nothing. It's just pure community. Do you know where you can find that?
I think I do.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.
We are here. And we're back, with some more sits. And my next sit is going to be a superstar, if you will, a guy that was a top 5 wide receiver not too long ago, a guy that is floating around, trade talks all over the place in fantasy leagues because people just don't know what to do with Deebo Samuel. And this week is going to be a tough one for him. His value has taken a nosedive in recent weeks with his current situation. He's a player you should avoid starting this week. Once a top tier wide receiver, his production has plummeted due to a combination of his injuries, that offensive line struggles, and declining role in the 49ers offense. He's got a tough matchup against the Bills this week, one of the stingiest defenses against wide receivers, and there's little reason to trust him. Last week he saw just 4 targets, catching only 1 for 21 yards with 2 drops. With Brock Purdy facing pressure and coming off an injury, that offensive line is struggling. San Francisco's passing game has struggled. Meanwhile, we got to talk about Juwan Jennings, who's emerged as their go-to wide receiver in the 49ers attack, further diminishing Deebo's opportunities. That just adds insult to injury, in my opinion. Samuel's wear and tear style of play, I think, is just catching up to him. People talked about an age curve for running backs. They talk about it for wide receivers, but sometimes in these hybrid roles, maybe that is shrunk a little bit, and Deebo is kind of hitting that right now because of the wear and tear he took on his body 2 years ago when the wide receiver, when the running back room was banged up there. So he doesn't have that same burst in the open field. He doesn't have the yards after the catch he once did, and it's playing on him. So Deebo Samuel in a tough matchup this week with his declining role. I'm out. Give me somebody else.
Especially, with the quarterback situation. I mean, there's a lot of factors that point you out.
Yeah, I mean, the 49ers Super Bowl window might be just completely shut now. Look at Christian McCaffrey. He definitely does not look explosive like he did last year. Those 2 knee injuries potentially could be something to monitor. Maybe they shut him down if they're out of the playoff race to preserve them for next year. You don't know, because this 49er team, they've got some age. They've got a lot of contract situations. They got a lot of salary to look at. So, a lot to talk about it, especially with the team with that much talent and with the losing record now. So crazy.
Hey, You know what? I've seen a lot of talk on Twitter about them maybe firing Shanahan. That'd be the silliest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting there, right? I mean, they were Super Bowl favorites headed into this season, and they're not 500. They're not a 500 football team anymore. So we shall see.
I just don't think I don't put any stock into that's on Shanahan when you didn't have McCaffrey. Like, he's the quarterback of that offense. You know what I mean? Like, losing him is like losing a franchise quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. All right, so Schultze, headed into week 13. What game do you have your eye on as a game that you're looking to watch this weekend outside of your Jaguars?
Well, I already talked about Kyler. You talked about Marvin. I'm going to game stack the crap out of this game in a DFS lineup and shoot for the moon. This one, game total is at about 44.5. So it's like 4th or 5th on the slate as far as highest game total. But I just have like a gut feeling that this could be one of those ones that just goes absolutely bananas. And I'm going to take my shot at it.
He's going to take his shot, folks. Yeah, you know what? For me, I'm really interested to see how this game shakes out. We got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Philadelphia Eagles in a game that some people are pegging as a Super Bowl preview here. It's going to take a lot for the Ravens to get there. With how tough that AFC is, especially, them losing to the Steelers. So I'm really looking to see how these Eagles look against this Ravens team, because the Eagles are, silently almost, if you will, because, they've been, in the shadows of how well the Detroit Lions have been playing. But don't forget about this Philadelphia Eagles team. They're not shy of, being in a Super Bowl not too long ago, and they've got all the tools to get there. Again, their team is playing on all cylinders, and they've been banged up. So this game, I'm really looking forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to seeing the fantasy football implications. Two of these running backs, these aging running backs that got into high-powered offenses and now are, top 3 running backs in the league. It's pretty crazy to see, and let's continue to see that. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing that game. Schultze, from all of us here on the Fantasy Forecast, on the Fantasy Football Advice Network, powered by the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate everybody week in and week out coming, joining us for football talk, and it's getting down to the stretch wire here. So hopefully our advice has gotten you to the point where you're still listening, still into some deep leagues, and you're building your championship, because we are. So from all of us here on the Fantasy Forecast, we hope you win.
We hope you win, and whatever you do, don't fill up your tortilla chip bag with nacho cheese at 7-Eleven.
Never do that, especially if you're needing a hot dog.
We are here. We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.